Hello everybody, welcome back again to another episode of Mr. Monroe's Math. We're talking about lesson 14 from module 5, just talking about our geometry a little bit and just finding volume, area, and length when we're just missing one of the values. And it could be any one of the three. It doesn't always have to be the volume that's missing. So here we actually have the volume because it is feet cubed. The volume of a rectangular prism is. It's telling us that is what the volume is, 21 over 12 feet cubed, and the height of the prism is 3/4 of a foot. So again, volume is given as a unit there, and height is given as a unit there. Obviously marking up our papers so that way it helps us, okay? So looking at that, I actually wrote it on the back side here so we could see it just a little bit neater. Okay, so the volume is 21 over 12 feet cubed, and the height is 3/4 of a foot. And we have this formula. Volume equals the area of the base times the height. And we can substitute the values in that we know. We know the volume is 21 over 12. And again, substituting using parentheses equals the area of the base, not given to us, B, times the height, which is 3/4. And we don't know what the base is yet, but we know that this is attached with multiplication, coefficient of 3/4 with the value of B. We want to get B alone by itself. So we are going to, since this is multiply, one way that we can do it is divide both sides by 3/4. You can also ask yourself, could I multiply by the reciprocal? Well, absolutely. And you're actually going to do a lot of that in 7th grade math. So let's work with the division first so we can see the multiplication in action. So we're going to divide both sides by 3/4. Okay, and of course this was substituting too, so we have parentheses there. I know somebody just called me out on that. So dividing here. Now, can I replace the 3/4 first, or actually have the 21 over 12 first? It actually has to be that since it's already there. So we're going to write our fraction as 21 over 12 divided by, we're fading here, 3/4. So if we have that, get another pen. So if we have that, then we know that we can work with, here we go, this one's better, divided by 3/4. There we go. So we can use our multiply by the reciprocal method, or also known as keep, change, flip, where we keep the first fraction, change division to multiplication, and then we flip the second fraction. So let's try that. We keep 21 over 12. Okay. And then we are actually going to be multiplying I can't believe my pens aren't working. Let's try this one. 21. Wow, are you kidding? This is insane. How many pens are not going to work? You know what's always going to work? A sharpened pencil. Okay, 21/12 times 4/3. I multiplied by the reciprocal. Yeah, you can still see that. So we multiply here. Is there anything we can simplify? Well, of course there is. We can simplify here. 4 goes into 4 once, and 4 goes into 12 3 times. We could multiply this as well, or we simply simplify any more. 21 and 3. 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 21 7 times. 7 times 1 is 7 over 3 times 1, which is 3. And how many 3's come out of 7? It's 2. What's left out of the 3? 1. Because 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7, so it's equivalent to 7/3. So our area for this question is 2 1/3 feet squared, because it is area. So that was question number 1, to find the area of the base. Now, if we skip ahead to this question 5, some of you guys were asking about this one. If I was to determine the volume of a composite figure, composite meaning it could be broken into multiple sections, which of course any figure really could, but this one we want to do that. So look at this. This side length right here is noted as 1 1/4, but this side length here is 2 1/2. So there is obviously some space over here where that figure is not stacking up to it. It would be kind of like seeing this notepad with this sticky note section where there is some area behind it. You see that? So very similar over here, composite figure, this one is raised up a little higher, this being the whole base. Very similar to this one. Okay? So hopefully you see that similarity there. So there is some space back here where we have to find the volume of that. So let's determine the volume of the composite figure. Well, let's start with the top part. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line right there, and I'm going to look at this, and I'm going to say, what can I find for the volume of this top part? So the top, okay, the volume is going to be, well, length times width times height, okay? We can say the length is 1 1/4. The width is, so that's the length. The width we can say is 1 inch, and the height is 1 1/2. And we can convert these to fractions greater than 1. 1 is going to be 1 over 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5, so that's 5/4. And then 1 1/2 becomes 3/2 because there's 1 1/2 of the 2. Multiply across, I get 15 over 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 15 over 8. And we can leave that as that for now. Okay. Of course, it would be inches cubed with the whole unit. And let's find the bottom part. So the whole length of that bottom part is 3. So the bottom, okay, volume equals length, width, and height again, of course. Length is 3. The width is 2 1/2. And the height is 1/4 of an inch. A little smaller this time. So now we take that, multiply, of course. 3 becomes 3 over 1. 2 1/2 becomes 5 over 2. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And multiply by 1/4. This might be smaller. Multiply across, 1 times 2 is 2. Yeah, I'll start with the denominator. And 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 5 is 15. Times 1 is itself, which is 15. And again, that's going to be inches cubed. Well, what do we notice? They are actually the same volume, even though they don't look like the same size at all. Notice the height difference. 1/4 versus 1 1/2. So obviously this is taller, but might occupy the same amount of space as the bottom part. So let's add them up and combine them. Why did I leave it like this? Because if they have the same denominator, I can simply add the numerators to it. If they didn't, I would have to find a common denominator. So if I add these together, 15/8 plus 15/8, I'm going to get 30/8. No, not 16, because we are adding. Adding or subtracting, we do not do anything with the denominator if they are the same. If we multiply or divide, yes, we would have to multiply or divide with that denominator. So 30 over 8, how many 8s come out of 30? Well, that's 3. And then how many of the 8s are left? Well, 8, 16, 24. There are 6, and oh, look at this, 6 8s. I can simplify that. So we're going to have a total volume of 3 3/4 inches cubed. So total volume for that composite figure for number 5. I hope that helps. Again, look to break these composite figures into sections, whether you did it this way or did 3 sections with vertical lines here. Okay, fish tank, remember find the empty space here, all right, using the information given. And you should be good to go with that. Be careful if there's any space here or not, okay? All right, power to you, smash a like, and of course, glitter is my favorite.